In Dragon Ball Super, we have seen a lot of questions asked in terms of power scaling, power levels, and how we would rank someone in regards to their overall strength. And one of the characters who is very much in the way of a controversial pick as to if he's strong, if he's weak, would have to be Tagoma. And one of the questions we have to ask today in this video, and the question we have to answer, is how strong is Tagoma in Dragon Ball Super? And today myself and MJ from Geeklist TV are going to try and answer that for you and give our best educated opinions about how strong we believe that he is. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on all upcoming videos in the future. In Dragon Ball Super, we were introduced to the character of Tagoma in the Resurrection F arc, someone who is a soldier in Frieza's army and of the rank of Zarbon and Doria. However, when he was first introduced to us, his power level was nothing really to take note of, other than for an early Z level character. However, once Frieza was resurrected and he played a vital role in that, he was selected to be Frieza's training partner for 4 months, during which both members of this training team leveled up to a significant degree to where they became a threat for the Dragon Ball Z characters at large. But how strong do we believe that this character was in Dragon Ball Super? Well, MJ, let's get straight into this and start discussing exactly why we believe that Tagoma is so powerful. But before we get to that, how strong exactly do you think Tagoma is? And I'll say how strong I think he is, and then we'll get into why we think he's that strong.
I believe that he's around, he may be comparable to or actually stronger than Mystic Gohan from the Buu Saga. That's where I would rank him. I don't know about you.
Well, for me, I feel like he may be somewhere in that ballpark, but let's exactly explain to the audience why we believe that, because there's a lot of people I'm sure right now who are already saying, wait a second, that's way too strong. Well, let's get into exactly why we think so. So first off, the thing I want to mention is what I've already mentioned thus far, and that would be the training with Frieza. And as we know, Frieza's level of power, just like Tagoma's, dramatically increased during that training. And what kind of training did they actually go through, MJ?
Well, Frieza actually had the idea of just beating this guy down over and over, day in and day out. We didn't get to see too much of his training though, Mike, but from what we saw, it was basically him getting beaten down and getting Zenkai like if he was a goddamn Saiyan, you know?
Basically, yeah.
Frieza rose to such great heights, bro, that to me it just seemed like he was rising as well. Like his body was getting equipped and it was getting appropriate for the beatings that he would take from a stronger Frieza as Frieza kept getting stronger throughout the training, you know?
Exactly, and as Tagoma said, his body was hardened into a body of steel through these repeated beating downs to near death by Frieza and then being healed in that chamber, in the healing chamber that Frieza was also healed in when he was brought back to life. And it would kind of work like how when you go to the gym and you lift weights, well, naturally you're going to get stronger and progress and get stronger and stronger, but when you actually have someone who is your training partner, well, their muscles, when they get beaten to near death by you every single day and you get stronger and you get stronger, well, naturally the beating you give them is going to make them stronger and stronger as well. So it does act in a way as a Zenkai boost, because when you tear your muscles, well, those muscles get stronger when you heal them. Well, naturally, the same thing would happen, and Tagoma would act as the muscle in this case. But I wouldn't necessarily say he was the overall level of the first form Frieza, considering what we see him do, but there are other things to tie in into what his level of power was. For example, what did Sorbet say about Tagoma when he was first scanning him with his scouter?
Well, basically, he actually said he was stronger than the Ginyu Force, but Mike, this was before he powered up in front of the Dragon Team or Z Fighters, whatever you would like to call them.
Super Fighters now,
Super
I guess.
Fighters, yeah. And plus, to add on to that, Tagoma does laugh off the idea that, I remember that name, and quickly I'm not in that level, guy. Get out of my face, basically.
Exactly. Another thing to bring up is it's at this point when Tagoma powered up that Goten and Trunks on the other side of the world, I suppose, they sense Tagoma's power for the first time and they're immediately alerted to it and they say, wow, a massive power level, let's go over there and fight him. So they actually were alerted by his power, and Ginyu to them would be nothing, so naturally they're going to come over something a little bit stronger than that because they know somebody else would take care of him. But speaking about him powering up in front of the Z Fighters, in front of that super team, what exactly about the performance against those Z Fighters would you say stands out for you?
For me, it would probably be the fact that as soon as he powered up and after Goten and Trunks sensed him, Gohan does state that he's hiding power comparable to his best. And as soon as he says that, he drops down, but the key word here, Mike, and everyone listening, is hiding. So this guy was not at full power when he powered up. He was still suppressed. And Piccolo charged him, and he wrecked him, tearing off his limb, and Piccolo needed a senzu bean just to get back up from the blows.
Sorry, Quinn. But yes, Piccolo was utterly wrecked by Tagoma in their fight, and as we said in the How Strong is Gohan in Dragon Ball Super video, we believe that Piccolo at this point in time, considering all the training he's done for so many years since the Cell Saga and over the course of his entire life, he's probably around the strength of Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan. So Tagoma basically wrecked somebody on the level of Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan, so we already know that Tagoma is way stronger in his suppressed form than anyone in the Cell Game saga. But let's go even further to someone from the Buu saga. What exactly happened against Gotenks?
Well, after Tagoma took out Piccolo, he is actually caught off guard by Gohan, but he quickly gets back up. But then someone comes out of nowhere, and it is Gotenks fused as a Super Saiyan, or SSJ, hits Tagoma in the balls, and he goes down. But he actually wakes right back up, and that's basically tanking an attack from SSJ Gotenks, who should be comparable to SSJ3 Goku from your video on How Strong is Gotenks, Mike.
Exactly. In that video, we talked a lot more in depth about the ultimate power of Gotenks, how strong he truly is in the Buu saga at least, and you and I basically think that he's probably not that much weaker than he was in the Buu saga, if at all. And it seems like, considering they could still fuse, they're probably around the same power as they were back then. But when it comes to that, this is afterwards when Captain Ginyu as the Frog meets Tagoma, and they swap their bodies. And after swapping their bodies, there's some interesting information that is stated by Piccolo and that's stated by Jaco about the power of Ginyu with Tagoma's body. And what is that, MJ?
Piccolo says that his power has risen even higher than before after Tagoma attacked him, and while they're trying to get back up and Tagoma's still standing tall, Jaco states that he has now been able to bring out the full power of that Tagoma guy.
Exactly. So ultimately, we're now seeing that Tagoma, after getting hit by Gotenks and gets back up as Ginyu, is now even stronger than before, and so it's clear that everything up until that point was Tagoma being pretty suppressed, and he powers up and he starts wrecking all the Z Fighters. He beats down everyone. Now, you could say, okay, well, he was giving shots to Tien, Shinhan, and he was giving shots to Master Roshi, but obviously he isn't, hitting them with the same amount of force that he's going to hit at Gohan. And speaking of Gohan, we see his performance against Tagoma coming up straightly after that, and what happens between the two in that fight?
Well, basically, he's actually able to take hits from a full-powered Tagoma. Well, Ginyu is bringing out his full power, supposedly. He's able to tank all those hits and get back up and actually take a barrage of Ki Blast from him. So right then and there, Mike, that tells me that Gohan's base is stronger than SSJ2 Teen Gohan. His base, keep that in mind.
Yes.
Also, he states that he cannot draw out his full power.
Yes, and what he means is that basically Gohan's full power works that his power is always there and it grows with his age over time. At least that's, from what we could tell from watching Dragon Ball Z, and he just has to be able to train to access it. That's why he's not in his quote-unquote Mystic Cho ultimate form in Resurrection F, because he hasn't been training for a little while, so he can no longer access the full capacity of it. However, Gohan could still transform into a Super Saiyan, and when he could transform into a Super Saiyan, as we know, the multiplier for Super Saiyan, which even now in Dragon Ball Super with Goku and Vegeta, they still state it multiplies their power by many, many times, is basically 50 times the base power level. And as we talked about in my How Strong is Gohan in Dragon Ball Super video, if Gohan is around Super Saiyan 2, or even twice as strong as Super Saiyan 2 in his base base form that he was from the Cell Saga, then that would mean 50 times that would be 25 times Super Saiyan 2, or even higher than that, which ultimately would mean that Tagoma is in the range of many times stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku from the Buu Saga. However, as you were saying before, Gohan does transform into a Super Saiyan, which he can't really maintain much in his body. And what happens after that point, MJ?
Well, basically, he does two-shot Tagoma, but Tagoma is seen to get right back up though, Mike. So if Gohan multiplying his base by 50 times is stronger than him, it's not by that much, man. At least that's what I can tell from it.
I mean, I feel like Gohan was purposely not trying to kill him, or he purposely was sparing him, but that doesn't mean that Gohan wasn't really going as hard as he can, or it doesn't mean that Gohan was holding back tens of times. All it would really say to me is that Tagoma is maybe weaker than Gohan, but again, as you said, he gets up, he doesn't seem that damaged, so that to me makes me wonder how many times weaker. But then we see someone actually finally defeat Ginyu in Tagoma's body, and his name is...
Vegeta.
Okay, so what happens when Tagoma faces Vegeta, MJ?
He gets wrecked. Simple as that. I believe Vegeta blows him away with one blast. And if you're wondering about how strong Vegeta is, I have a lovely video on my channel talking about how strong Goku is in Dragon Ball Super. Their base forms, to be exact.
Exactly, and you can check that video out where he goes a lot more in depth, but as we see, Vegeta is way more powerful than even Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, so the fact of the matter is, I think that from all we've said and all we've seen so far, Tagoma is significantly more powerful than any of the characters that a lot of people have said he is. He's more powerful than anyone on Namek. He's more powerful than anyone during the Cell Saga, and he's more powerful than most of the characters during the Buu Saga, even more powerful, it would seem, MJ, than Super Saiyan 3 Goku, or perhaps even all the levels of Super Saiyan Gotenks in terms of 1, 2, or 3. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the only people to be able to take out Tagoma would probably be the upper tiers of the Buu Saga, like Mystic Gohan, maybe at full power, because we don't know exactly how strong he was in that pool, and also going on up to Vegito and Buhan.
Yeah, I think that Vegito could still probably beat Tagoma. I feel like, you know, maybe as a Super Saiyan 3, whatever it happens to be, he would still probably be able to beat him. And Mystic Gohan, there's an argument that he could beat him. Let's just say that Gohan was weaker than Mystic at that point. You never really know. Even though Mystic is still like a moving thing, there's no real set multiplier or set number for Mystic because Gohan's power always grows. So when he raged out against Frieza at the end of Resurrection F, realistically, he should be stronger than when he would have raged out as a Mystic, you know, in the Buu Saga.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I have to say that Tagoma is probably in that upper Super Buu-ish kind of range, and it makes sense because he's an intermediary villain. In Dragon Ball, we always have those intermediary villains in the movies or in certain things that are between the two, like Dabura, for example. When Buu crushed him, oh, he's comparable to Cell, and Buu crushes him, Buu is even stronger. Frieza wrecks Gohan in his first form, and ultimately we know Frieza's much stronger than that, so it only makes sense that someone, you know, will come along who is going to fight Frieza and beat this lower level guy, but this lower level guy is still basically stronger than almost everyone else who came before it, and that's just kind of how the power creep works in Dragon Ball Super. But let us know your own thoughts down below in the comments section. Do you agree with myself and MJ? Don't forget to go check out his videos on his channel, like the one we just mentioned before, because he also does power scaling for Dragon Ball Super, but he also does a lot of reaction videos and talks about a number of things I think you're going to enjoy, so don't forget to check that out. And as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
Zamas, we coming for you, Ningen.